Andreas, thank you again for coming back to stage. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So it's only me between you and the red wine. So just learn that. That's a good spot to be in. A tough spot maybe. And great to be here. What we are doing here at the Landa Group, and I'm acting in a CIO role there now for, first I started, or maybe a quick background on me, I started in M&A consultancy, moved to the corporate world, helped to restructure the old German coal mining company, which is now known as Evonik. Was the global head of M&A of Deutsche Post, moved to a chemical company, was there part of the management team, responsible for M&A group strategy, and built a venture activity for them with 200 million under management at the end. And one of the investment was an investment of 100 million. That was the first round for Landa digital printing, which you will learn about something in a second. And then the founder asked me to join him and his team to come to Israel, to the startup nation, and perceive that as a good professional and personal challenge and opportunity. And this brought me there. What we're doing there is here, there you see a picture of Benny. And if you move to the next slide, then I hope that's something readable here. So Benny, he's really a serial entrepreneur, one of the few ones. He founded his first business in the 60s of the last century, when microfiche was still the mass storage medium. IPO'd that on the AIM. So IPOs for startup companies are possible, right? And then he founded the next thing, Indigo. Originally, and this is also a good example for the way we think at the Landa Group. Originally, he wanted to build the world's fastest photocopier, and then found out that his technology might be something that can be turned into a printing press, and that was the first digital printing press, Indigo. IPO'd that on NASDAQ, sold it to HP eventually, and today 90% of all photo books are printed on Indigo presses. Labels are being printed on Indigo presses, but, and this was one of the reasons why he got out of the business, is he realized it can never become mainstream. Whereas Jane, because it's physics, you cannot scale it up due to the specifics of the process, and then he went out of printing, thought he would never go into the industry again, and had set up the Landa Labs as a first activity from scratch again. And this is a research center with now 120 PhD scientists, and we are focusing on disruptive technologies for large markets that are easy to say, but difficult to achieve. And especially because you need this really and we talked about that in the panel, you need the people, you need the knowledge, you need the spirit, you need the environment, the ecosystem. And this is what makes us so unique, because we have all those ingredients and the pedigree. And the business model is, and if you go to the next slide, you see here the Landa Labs in the middle with all the different projects. And either we sell it as a technology if we believe we are not the best owners for scaling it up, like we did, for instance, with hair coloration technology, based on our experience and know-how in nanopigments. We thought, look, maybe we can put the pigments on hair, maybe it works, and it worked. So we have developed a new coloration technology which is permanent, which is less dangerous and less harmful. Think of all the chemicals that you need for traditional hair dyeing. First you have to destroy the hair, the color in the hair, and then you have to put new color in, and then you have to hope that the result is the one you would like to have. And we're putting pigments on it, it's permanent, you can wash it, and if you don't like the color anymore, you use your removal shampoo and you're back to your original hair color. And we sold that to one of the larger brands here, to Henkel, for a pretty decent amount of money. If we believe we can do something about it, and then we spin it out, like we did with Landa Gel Printing, Lucix lab-grown diamonds, and we have there was the most recent baby here, Lumet, a new way to metallize solar cells and make them more efficient. And we are now in discussions with the large solar cell manufacturers and all the material companies, if that is something for them.
Solar-based panels, Silicon-based.
Yeah, silicon-based panel. You will see a picture in a second. So that's about the business model, and we have our own venture fund where we invest in companies where we believe we can add more than just money. So build also their kind of an ecosystem with Landa Labs. And actually, that's a good example. So the Lume project came out of a 3D printing company we have invested in. They had a solar project, but with their technology, it went nowhere. We said, look, let's pick it up. We took the team, and the result is now Lume. So that's another good way. And yeah, those. If you move to the next one, because this is review. And Landa Geoprinting is really at the centerpiece. So we raised close to $1 billion already. It's now in the market, double-digit million in revenues. So now it's for real. But when the old my previous employer, when we made the investment at the time, 2014, was just a prototype and a good team around it. And now it's really in the market. And as you may not know that, only 2% of everything that is printed today, if you really look at the total print volume, is printed digitally. And the reason for that is because there is no technology available that is able to print at high speed in the required quality on any substrate, which is important in packaging. You cannot say to Kellogg's, look, you now have to wrap your Kellogg's, the cornflakes, into photo paper, which you needed to do if you would like to use traditional digital, which is inkjet technology. And we are printing indirectly on a blanket with inkjets, and then we glue the picture to the paper. So it's really material science, it's engineering, a lot of engineering, because you have to do that at high speed, 12,000 pages per hour, with an accuracy in the micrometer range. So it's super difficult. And you have to combine, we have more software code in the machine, quality control, think of correction for missing nozzles, etc., than in a fighter jet. And of course, we also deploy AI. So even the subcomponents could, other companies would be glad if they had the knowledge we have in the subcomponents that could be spun out as their own activities in their own rights there. And but on the other hand, from a finance raise perspective, we deliberately, and this was when I was on the other side, I said, look, it doesn't make sense now to bring venture capital in at this early stage, because not because the venture model doesn't work in principle, but here in this specific case, it was already foreseeable that it will take longer and it will take more money than a single VC fund can provide. So in principle, you needed to have some of the pocket of a private equity fund with risk appetite of venture capital. And who has that? Family offices. Having understanding for technology, having a different cost of capital approach, having different return expectations, and really understand and want to be part of a journey where they make a difference to the world. Because also sustainability is something here. Think of the traditional printing is also using cumbersome chemicals, etc. I want to go into details here, but and this is why here we have now 2 family offices, one actually with Swedish roots and the other one with German. And then, of course, the founder's family, and no institutional money up to this point in time. Although now we are at a stage where we indeed also are here either taking the company public within the next 2 years, and where we need capital also to really scale it up on a global basis. So that's the flagship thing. Then the US baby here, to your question, you see that here on the photo. Today, solar cells are being screen printed. So the silver paste, the silver linings here are being screen printed. And unfortunately, we haven't here the photo how it looks today, because this is really smashed down on the cell. So you need more material, and the coverage of this on the cell is higher, which lowers the efficiency. And we have created new technology with a roll-to-roll process, where we make then the money with the materials, and the cell is more efficient, less OPEX, less CAPEX. So it's a a win-win game. And this is why we believe it's disruptive, but also will be then really scale up and adopt. The adoption rate in the market will be pretty fast. And we are already now in close discussions again with one of the cell manufacturers, which is not from China. We're also in touch with, of course, with the Chinese company, but with all the discussions that happened, that was a nice tailwind for us, that the solar industry in the Western world collapsed completely, was destroyed by the Chinese. And but now, due to the recent discussions here, we have on a worldwide basis. So bringing back that technology also to the US, to Europe, opens up opportunities, because then you need technology. I mean, you cannot outpace the Chinese manufacturers in efficiency. They're backward integrated to the silicon, and no way that you can outgrow them when it comes to economies of scale, at least not in the short term. So you need to rely on technology, and this is what we can provide now to the industry. And yeah, those are the exits that we already made, and you can go to the next one. Yeah, this is the realm of the project that we are currently working on. We have a cosmetic team, and we have 3D printing activity, which is now a recent spin out. So this is one of the most recent developments. And we also using here our nano experience, or even we're thinking creatively, where else can that play a role? And that brought us into food. So nano salt, where you can reduce the amount of salt in food, but you still have the same experience. So you trick the brain with less salt. So as we talked about earlier. Things. And we also lithium-ion battery project where we try to increase the efficiency there. So it's really a lot of different things where you can ask yourself, look, what have one thing to do with the other? But it's really the combination of technology. It's really cross-disciplinary work and driven by the same values and belief that you need to drill it down to the really scientific level. To understand what is going on. So not only working on the symptoms and you just evolve, which is how innovation is done by especially the larger corporations. It's more evolutionary, but when you want to do something groundbreaking, you have really to dig a little bit deeper. And so think of, this is some example, conscious of time. Maybe you can go to the last one. And so you can think of us, we are a family office creating our own opportunities. You could also think of us as already a technology fund with different investments in different stages. Landa printing already in the market, well funded, but still needing some money to scale it up. We have the spin-out companies, and we have a seed incubator activity. And what we're now looking into is that we are thinking about what we did on the SpinCo level to replicate that on the group level. So bringing in partners who have an interest in technology, who want to make a difference in the world. As you see, all things are a little bit centered around. Actually, it started with an energy project that we dumped in the meantime because it led nowhere. But everything is really driven by sustainability in the sense that we want to do things in a smarter, more intelligent way, and of course, or if it's not directly impact in the neurosense like Lumet. But also lab-grown diamonds, for instance, they're completely solar-powered, made, replacing the traditional mined diamonds who are digged out of the ground, a lot of water pollution, you have the social impact, etc. So also Lucix is here, the lab-grown diamond company is sustainable in that aspect. And if investors had an appetite to come in, we are now creating a structure where we allow those to come in. And benefit also then here by a pro rata that we have not yet used here in the latest financing round on the LDP level. So you can partner with 2 large European family offices at pari passu terms, which we deem are quite favorable, 35% discount, at least now for 2 or 3 months. Is that open? Then it will be reduced to 25. and a minimum guaranteed exit valuation of 2x, which we also deem quite attractive. And of course there is the direct investment in the projects and an investment very again, we are now close to an exit here at least, or to an MOU for a strategic partnership in Lumet, and you could come in there as well. So really investing in what we believe is a nice portfolio here. So thank you very much, and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you.
Curious if some of your companies are open to partnerships. For example, the Diamond Company, because one of my portfolio companies is a company that is either a partner or a competitor, depending how it is. They're making lab-grown diamonds out of carbon removed from the atmosphere. They have a patented process for that. So I think, I don't know if there's some kind of partnership or maybe they're just competitors.
No, definitely. That would be something we could talk about. We even also looked already at an add-on acquisition opportunity to acquire more technology, especially when it comes to larger wafers. Because one of the things, and probably you know that, currently we are in the nice decorative things. So for GAMS. Here in jewelry. And by the way, LVMH, for instance, is one of our partners and also an investor. The corporate venture fund invested in us. But semiconductors, that's the most interesting thing. Because diamonds are the best semiconductor in the world, unfortunately a little bit expensive and difficult to work with. So other ways to either bring down the cost, of course, that's always an issue, always a question. Being more sustainable, of course, is interesting. So let's have an offline conversation about that.
Figured it might have been. Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions for Andreas? Other questions? You mentioned kind of, former. Have you left the Landa Group now? Is that former? No. I thought I heard former.
No, I'm still in that role, but
okay.
also.
Okay, great.
What is that?
Chief Investment Officer.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm overseeing all the one overview slide. So I'm involved. I'm a board member here of two of our venture companies. I'm help raising money here still for Landa Printing, where I used to be a CFO at a time. So I'm a little bit involved in everything.
And the Landa Ventures Group, just put a little bit finer point on it in terms of what they will invest in. You say where they can add you can add strategic value. So obviously in the types of companies, but for example, the businesses that are here, disruptive processes and technologies, a lot of material science. Would those be the types of things that you would invest in? Yeah,
and actually, it's we are more now at the divestment phase because here the principal is in the end of his 70s, and so this is also the reason why we're looking now for partners and there on the Landa Ventures that came into existence here when we made the Indigo transaction, and that was a while ago. But for partnerships, so that would be something which could be interesting. Also, I forgot to mention here GenCell, for instance. That's because here we talked about here hydrogen earlier. I mean, they have created a new fuel cell. They already IPO'd at the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange with the new technology, and they're using ammoniac as a fuel. So they're a couple of touch points. Probably here to one of the earlier stories we heard of.
Any other questions? Okay. Excellent. Andreas, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.